Hey everyone, welcome back. Today's story is not just chilling, it's real. A crime so bizarre, it left investigators stunned and a community shaken. Stay with me, because the deeper we go, the darker it gets. In 2017, when I was researching the case of the Beaumont children who disappeared from an Adelaide beach in 1966, I came across a news clipping about another missing persons case. The case of Joan D'alessandro had haunted South Australia for decades. It made headlines in January 1968 when her battered body was found on the side of a country road. She was only 19 years old. Now, if you're anything like me, you may have thought that with advances in forensic technology, cold cases were being reopened and solved left, right, and center. But sadly, the Joan D'alessandro case remains unsolved after all these years. So today we're going to take a look at the case of the missing teen, examine some of the evidence, and most importantly, try and find answers. 19-year-old Joan D'alessandro was born on April 14, 1948, in Melbourne, Australia. When she was just 2 years old, her family moved to a small cottage in Port Noarlunga on the south coast of Adelaide. Her father was a railway signalman and her mother a housewife. Joan had two older sisters, Kay and Lorraine, and a younger brother named Peter. By all accounts, Joan was your typical teenager. She enjoyed going to the pictures or dancing at the local roller rink with her friends. According to her family, Joan was fun-loving, bubbly, sensitive, and artistic. She had recently completed her final exams at Mitcham High School and was looking forward to starting work as a hairdresser. On the morning of January 1968, Joan got up early and told her mother, Marlene, that she was going to visit her boyfriend, John. She said that she would be back later that day to help prepare dinner. Joan left home wearing a purple woolen dress, a black and white checked jacket, brown leather boots, and carrying a black handbag. She also took her mother's wedding ring with her, which she often wore as a pendant. That afternoon, Joan called home from a friend's house saying that she would be out late and to expect her later. That was the last time anyone ever heard from her. At 11:30 p.m., Joan's father, George, reported her missing to the police. He told them that it was out of character for Joan to stay out all night without letting someone know. The family waited anxiously for her to come home, but she never did. As the days turned into weeks and then months, the family's hope of finding Joan alive began to dwindle. They plastered the town with missing persons posters, desperately seeking any information that could lead to her whereabouts. One evening, a breakthrough came. A motorist driving along a deserted country road spotted something lying by the side of the road. At first he thought it was a discarded doll, but upon closer inspection, he realized it was a woman's body. On January 26, 1968, the police released a statement identifying the deceased as 19-year-old Joan D'alessandro. Her body was discovered on the side of Old Noarlunga Road, near the small town of Willunga, about 30 miles from where she was last seen alive. An autopsy revealed that Joan had been strangled with a pair of nylon stockings. Her death was so brutal and disturbing that the press dubbed it the stocking strangler case. The news of Joan's murder sent shockwaves through the tight-knit community. People were afraid to let their children go out alone, and mothers walked the streets with their kids during daylight hours. To this day, no one knows what happened to her after she left her boyfriend's house that night. Did she argue with him? Was she followed, or did she run away from home? These questions have never been answered. What we do know is that someone walked into the house she shared with her parents and took her out. Who was this person, and why did they kill her? John, Joan's boyfriend, became the prime suspect in the investigation. On the night Joan went missing, he told the police that she left his home around 7 p.m. to go to a friend's house. However, the police suspected that he was hiding something. In a subsequent interview, he changed his story, claiming that he dropped Joan off at her home after they watched the 6 o'clock news. But the police knew that Joan's body was found 30 miles away from her house. How could she have gone there straight from her boyfriend's house? Another suspicious detail emerged. Just 3 weeks before Joan went missing, John had been charged with assaulting her. According to the police report, he hit her in the face during an argument. This was not the first time John had been violent. In the past, he had been charged with assaulting a woman and breaking into a house with intent to assault. Despite the evidence against him, John was never charged with Joan's murder. The police let him go after he passed a lie detector test. But many people believe that he was guilty and that the police let him get away with murder. Joan's sister, Kay, believes that the police never really investigated John properly. Speaking to the media, she said, "He should have been the main suspect, but somehow or other, he was cleared. We always believed that John killed Joan." But John wasn't the only person of interest in the case. Another man, Dennis, also became a suspect after he wrote a letter to Joan's mother confessing to the murder. However, Dennis soon recanted his confession, claiming that he had been joking. He told the police that he had written the letter as a prank because he had seen the amount of money the family was getting from the newspaper for being Joan's friend. Dennis was ruled out as a suspect after the police found his handwriting on the envelope, and it didn't match the handwriting on the letter. So with all the evidence pointing towards John, why wasn't he charged? What happened to the case? There are many theories surrounding the case of Joan D'alessandro's murder, but no one knows what really happened. Some people believe that Joan was killed by a stranger. Others believe that her boyfriend, John, was responsible. Then there are those who think that Dennis was the killer. There's also a theory that a serial killer known as the Beast of Little Yarra was behind Joan's murder. The Beast of Little Yarra was a serial killer who operated in the Yarra Valley in the 1960s. He was never caught, and neither was Joan's killer. Here are some of the facts of the case. Whoever killed Joan was familiar with the area where her body was found. The killer chose a remote location to dump her body, suggesting that they were from the area. The killer was likely someone who was comfortable with violence against women. The killer was able to dispose of Joan's body without being seen, indicating that they were bold and resourceful. Do you think that Joan's killer is still out there? If so, why hasn't he been caught yet? This case is still open and the police are still looking for answers. However, it is unlikely that we will ever know what really happened to Joan. The evidence is long gone, and the witnesses have either died or can't remember what they saw. For Joan's family, this means that they will never be able to put the tragedy behind them. They will always wonder what happened to her and why. For us, this case is a reminder that evil exists in the world, and that sometimes good people die for no reason. It's also a reminder to always be aware of our surroundings, and to never take anything for granted. Did you find this case to be interesting? Let me know in the comments below. I also encourage you to follow for more content. Thank you for watching.